Today, I want to show you how to make the high string sound that is really popular in deep house and just all of house music in general. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. To create this high string sound, you can use Kontakt with actual string samples, or you can just find a sample on Splice. But I want to show you how to do it with a synth, and I'm going to be using Serum. I'm going to show you two different variations, so watch through the whole video so you can see how I make both of them. This sound works really well to add tension to your tracks, especially for any kind of deep house or house tracks. You'll usually hear this string sound and it's one note, it just goes throughout the entire track or sections of the track. So let's say, for example, I have this break here that is just a respace sound. And I want to add some high strings to it to add some atmosphere and some tension. I created a MIDI clip here. This is just going to be a C note that's held out throughout the entire progression. It's going to be a C5. It's going to be very high. So let's open up Serum and I'll just go ahead and play this now. That's what that sounds like with the initial default preset and also with that C5 note. What I can do now is go to my oscillator A and I'm going to raise up the unison to 4, turn down the detune a tiny bit, and I'm going to go to my oscillator B and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to raise up the unison and then turn down the detune a tiny bit. But then I'm going to go to my fine tuning here and I'm going to increase this fine tuning. And maybe I'll detune this oscillator A as well a tiny bit using that fine tuning. I'm going to go to my filter now and I'm going to turn this on and I will do MG low 12 for now. Let's make sure that I turn this on for A and B. What I can do now is assign my macro here to the cutoff. So I'm going to hit Shift and Alt or Option on my Mac and that adjusts the cutoff so it's only positive. Now my macro is going to adjust the cutoff. And let's go ahead and rename that macro to filter. After that, let's make some adjustments to my envelope 1. Let's add a bit of release and some attack. Slow down the attack a tiny bit. I'm going to add some noise too. Let's add an AC hum. You can just turn that noise on. That's the default sound that comes on. Turn up the level, just to add a bit of an analog sound to it. And I can go ahead and turn on the filter for my noise as well. Now let's go to my effects and I can add on some chorus. Turn down the depth a tiny bit. Maybe turn up the mix. And then I can go to my macro here and I can assign my macro to the mix and now I can adjust my chorus as well. But let me go ahead and adjust my low pass filter. And I'll go ahead and rename this to chorus. And then I can add some light reverb like a plate. This might not do too much, but it will soften the sound a tiny bit. Now let's go back to my oscillators. And that sounds pretty good, but I actually want this to be even higher of a sound. So I'm going to increase the octave on both of these oscillators to +1. And you can adjust the master here, or sometimes I'll put on a utility plugin to adjust the gain because we don't want it to be too loud in the mix, otherwise it might hurt our ears. And it might sound something like that. And then I can turn on my automation and look at my automation. I can hit this configure here and I'll click on filter and then I can add some automation for my filter. And that will essentially rise up and release that filter as it goes throughout the track. Maybe for the drop, I don't want that much of a filter, but for this break section, I do. So that's just something that you could do as you're building out your track. So that is the first variation of this string sound. Let me go ahead and show you a second variation. Let's go ahead and duplicate this. And I'm going to remove that automation. We don't need that right now. And mute that first sound. So that is the sound that I just created. Now for this second variation, I'm going to turn off oscillator B. And then I'm going to put this fine tuning back to 0. Raise up the unison to 5. And I'm going to adjust the filter to MG low 24. And I'm going to turn down the filter to about there. I don't need any chorus. I'm going to go back to this chorus here, and I'm going to shut this off. And then I'm going to go to my LFO1. On my LFO1, I'm going to go to this folder here, and then go to the sine and adjust this a tiny bit. Turn off the BPM, turn down the rate. And then I'm going to assign the LFO1 to the fine tuning. And there you can hear it wobbling a lot. So I'm going to actually adjust this, lower this down a bit. And then maybe play around with this rate. And now let's go ahead and compare that string sound to the first one we created. Here is the first sound. And then here's the second one. So both obviously very similar there. This high string sound, one has a bit more chorusy effect, it's a bit wider sounding, and the other one sounds a bit smoother. So you can use these two variations, save these as presets. What I just did, you can save this first one, just make sure to click on this save button and save them both as two presets for creating that high string sound. So what I would do is I'd maybe just freeze this to an audio clip. So freeze that and then flatten it. And then now I have this audio clip, and then I can just copy this throughout the song. And maybe I can add some things like saturation or overdrive just to change it up, or even some chorus or phaser, just some other effects to maybe change up the sound a bit. So I hope you enjoyed that. And if you did, please go ahead and give this video a like. And then also, if you are not yet subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. And finally, if you are truly looking to improve your mixing skills, then check out my Modern Mix Academy. This is a full online mixing course that I created that will help you make some of the best records of your life from the comfort of your own home. I'll put a link down below for you to check that out. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.